Committee on Redistricting will come to order. I'd like to thank you all for being here. I am Representative Brendan Jones from Columbus, and I represent Robeson County as well. Thank you on behalf of the House and Senate Redistricting Committee for being here. I want to thank my fellow House and Senate members. We've got Senator Clark, Senator Ford, Representative Pierce, Representative Graham, Representative Penny, and hometown proud Senator Danny Britt's running a few minutes late. He will be joining us here shortly. I also want to take a minute and thank our General Assembly staff for being here, our Sergeant of Arms, our General Assembly Police, and the local police and the Pembroke staff for being here to help as well. If you would now, for every speaker, we ask that you please state your name for the record in any organization that you are affiliated with also. And for the sake of moving on, you will each have 2 minutes to speak. Sergeant at Arms will be there to notify you when you get to the 1 minute mark. At the 2 minute mark, he will be cutting you off for the sake of time. I will make sure that everyone does get the opportunity to speak that has signed up. If you haven't signed up, we'll make sure at the end that we get you recognized. So moving on, our first speaker, we have Ms. Crystal Guindo. Ms. Guindo. Okay. Emmanuel Mejia Diaz. Please state your name, who you represent. You have 2 minutes when you start.
We're good. All right, good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Emmanuel Mejia Diaz, and I'm the Southeastern Regional Organizer with Democracy North Carolina. I also grew up in Robeson County, and I'm a proud graduate from the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. What happens to Robeson County concerns me at a personal level, as I consider it my and my family's home. I'd like to emphasize things that I'm sure everyone here has heard multiple times in the last 10 years. I'm asking for transparency in the redistricting process, and I'm specifically asking for communities of interest to be kept together. Robeson County as a whole is a community of interest due to our cultural uniqueness. It should not be split when drawing federal congressional maps. I also emphasize that state legislative maps should be compact and keep communities of interest in mind as well. There are many examples for North Carolina representative districts that are not compact. I also urge legislators to place Robeson County in a federal district with our southeastern sister counties. Right now, we are placed in a district that stretches all the way into Charlotte, and I fear that the interests of those two communities are too different. I don't want Robeson County to be overlooked due to the interests of wealthy Charlotte donors. Apart from these asks, I want to highlight how disappointed people across the Southeast are to the current process. We don't have enough public hearings. These hearings are not being advertised enough, and I fear online public comments may be ignored. Most concerning of all is that the public cannot make comments after maps are finalized. The people of North Carolina should be able to respond to the final maps, as we have a controversial history with districts. I'd hope state leaders would have learned from the past 10 years. Bad maps will likely lead to litigation that will take money and resources away from other pressing matters across our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Sergeant of Arms, Representative Jamie Bowles has joined us. Can we make a seat for Representative Bowles? You don't want to join us up front? You're good? Okay. Representative Jamie Bowles has joined us as well. Next speaker, we have Ms. Caroline Sumpter. Please state your name for the record and who you're representing, please, Ms. Sumpter. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Caroline Sumpter. I am a resident of Red Springs, North Carolina, serving on the town council for the town of Red Springs, also chairperson for the Democratic Women of Robeson County, first vice chair for the North Carolina Democratic Party, Congressional District 9. Thank you for hosting this meeting. My points were very brief, a lot shorter than what I've been sketching and mulling over. This meeting, as the speaker before me has stated, while I am very thankful for the opportunity to address the redistricting committee, I would like for you to think about where we are. In Robeson County, most of our labor force are hourly workers. I myself have 2 small children that just got out of school at 3:05, and it was hustle and bustle to get here. It would have been great to have this meeting just a little later in the afternoon, evening, So for future reference, I would ask that you would take that in consideration. Rural area and the timing. Kids just getting out of school. There are some educators that I know that would have loved to have been in attendance today, but they're just getting out of the classroom. I'd also like to say, since being engaged in politics since about 2011, but active in my community most of my adult life, we've been in three different, when I say we, Robinson County been in three different congressional districts since about 2012. We were in Congressional District 7, 8, and 9. I would like to see us in a stable, compacted district as well. I would also love to see the town of Red Springs in Robinson County with the same state representative. Right now we have Representative Jones representing part of Robinson County, which is also Columbus County, which is a stretch the way the district lines. I would love to see our community stay together so our interests and our constituents and our voices can be maximized. Thank you.
Ms. Sumpter, thank you for your comments. If you would hold applause, we're having a committee meeting. Ms. Ann Tarak, please state your name and who you represent, please.
Hello. Members of the Commission on Redistricting.
If you would state your name and who you
Oh, I'm
represent,
sorry.
please. You're fine. Thank you.
My name is Ann Tarak. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. I'm a registered voter in Southern Pines, Moore County. My husband and I retired to Moore County in 2001. As my husband says, we were not born in North Carolina, but moved here as soon as we could. Here are my suggestions concerning the serious business of redistricting. Please make Moore County whole for U.S. congressional and NC Senate districts. Do not split Moore County up into more than one legislative district. Currently, the residents of Whispering Pines Golf Course community is in two different districts. Having two districts in Moore County is so confusing. Citizens do not know who to vote for even. My second request, after the maps are drawn, we need many opportunities for public hearings. Thank you. Not just one in Raleigh. And also the third point, since COVID and the Delta variant are raging, please have online opportunities for the public to view and participate in further public hearings about redistricting. In fact, some of my friends today did not feel safe coming out to this in-person meeting because of COVID. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I hope the legislative maps are drawn fairly for all voters. The legislative maps will be in effect for 10 years, so be very fair and conscientious. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Mr. James Davis. If you would state your name and who you represent, please.
James Davis, and I represent the 9th Congressional District here in North Carolina. My name is Jim Davis. I live at 239 Aggies Lane in Rayford, North Carolina, Hope County. I'm here to express my concerns regarding the North Carolina redistricting process. While I want to advocate for transparency and fairness in the entire process, I also want to specifically discuss Hope County and the North Carolina Sandhills region. Over the past 10 years, we in Hope County have enjoyed a senatorial representation shared with Cumberland County. We would like to retain this county cluster relationship. We have also enjoyed a legislative representation shared with Scotland County and would also like to retain this county cluster relationship. However, over the same 10-year period, Hope County Congressional District representation have varied between the 7th, the 8th, and now the 9th Congressional District. While I have had the honor of being elected to lead both the 8th and the 9th District as their chairman, I'm here today to advocate for a congressional district established for the North Carolina Sandhills. I want to strongly advocate for a central county cluster of Cumberland, Hope, Scotland, and Robinson counties for this newly created congressional district. I believe our population demographics will support this configuration with additional Sandhills counties such as Moore and Richmond. Nevertheless, a central core county cluster of Hoke, Cumberland, Scotland, and Robeson counties are requested for the Sand Hill Congressional District. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very
Dexter.
much.
Thank you. Mr. Gary Locklear. Mr. Locklear, if you would, state your name and who you represent, please.
My name's Gary Locklear. I represent my 2 grandchildren.
That sounds like a
Got
handful.
reason, no better reason in the world. Their future's at stake here. I'm retired now. I do work part-time. I live in the town of Pembroke. Albert Einstein, I'm gonna tell you this. Albert Einstein once said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Well, we're all adults in this room, and I really don't think none of us are insane. So, we expect different results this time when you redraw the lines. It's your obligation to do it. You do it for us. You work for us. Gerrymandering is wrong on all levels. And yes, both parties are guilty. But as my mother taught me, 2 wrongs certainly doesn't make a right. We got to start somewhere, and we got to start sometime. Why not here, and why not right now? Gerrymandering limits competition. Most seats are predetermined. You already know who's going to win the seats. There are very few seats that are close anymore. That results in very few policy debates. It's a dirty trick also, but a profitable one if you go back and look at the numbers. That turns democracy on its head. We're taught better in our 9th grade civic class. Let's prove that we learned what we should have back then. You've all heard it before, but gerrymandering lets politicians choose their voters rather than voters choose their politicians. That's wrong. When lines are drawn, whose interest do you have in mind? The voters or your own? We all know what the answer should be, and that should be the voters. How ironic. Today is National Voter Registration Day. Folks who registered to vote and who do vote should feel that feel confident their single vote is equal to everyone else's single vote. As long as we got gerrymandering, votes will never be equal. Stop gerrymandering and create an independent commission to draw the lines. We got no business in the district with Charlotte. Simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Locklear. Wesley Alderman. Mr. Alderman, if you would state your name for the record and who you represent, please. Turn it, there you go. Yeah.
I am Wesley Alderman of the Town New Chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and a student at UNC Pembroke. I'd like to emphasize that Robeson County needs to be better kept together. But in order to do that, there needs to be a change in the redistricting process. I fear that the maps of this county have been made without the input of the public. So that I ask that after the maps are finalized, that you give it easier access for the public to see these maps so the public can provide necessary feedback. This is necessary for voting purposes so that everybody can easily give their input and be able to better keep their community together and make it easier for everybody to advocate and make sure that the right policy and things are put in together, because I feel like there is, due to these restrictions that due to the restrictions and the maps in this county, the way they're drawn up, that certain people aren't allowed to vote in certain areas. And because of this, I ask that you give us more, make it easier for the community to see the feedback of these maps so that we can give our feedback. So like how other people have said, so we're able to build this community and work with you so that you may work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alderman. Call one more time because a few folks have walked in. Crystal Guindo. Crystal, did you walk in? Okay. Mr. Tim Heath. Mr. Heath, for the record, if you would state your name and any organization that you may represent, sir. Mic is yours.
My name is Tim Heath. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Tim Heath, and I live in Red Springs here in Robeson County. I serve as the first vice chair of the Democratic Party here. Robeson County is about the size of the state of Rhode Island, with a population around about 132,000 or more people, with a unique population being broken down of about 40% Native Americans, 28% white, 26% black, and there are other races, the Hispanic and Asian American and others that comprise of the other 6% or so. Our community is a rural community that has suffered two 500-year storms, and that's in the last 5 years. And as a result, our population has been decreasing. Among the challenges are our low tax base that negatively affects the funding for our schools, health care, job opportunities, recreation opportunities, and our infrastructure, and other issues that contribute to our quality of life. I stand before you to advocate for Robertson, Hope, Scotland, Cumberland, and Richmond to be a cluster that you would strongly consider, being that we share so much as it relates to the challenges that I just mentioned. Electing a leader from this cluster will ensure that that person will understand the needs and be responsible and be held accountable to the constituents who share the same values and concerns as they relate to having a better quality of life for our citizens. I would strongly urge and I would recommend that you would consider this cluster as we are being we'll be under this kind of leadership for the next 10 years. And we know where we stand now. We have some changes that we have to make. Thank you for your time and your attention today.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Miss Mary Storms. Ms. Storms, if you approach, will you please state your name and anybody that you represent? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Mary Storms. I represent myself, although I am a member of the League of Women Voters in the Southern Pine Hills area. Not big enough to have a whole membership there for ourselves. I do live in Lumberton. I moved from Lumberton to Lumberton from Charlotte, never thinking I would be in the same congressional district. Having lived in both towns for several years each, I can tell you that they're so different that us just having one representative for both constituencies seems personally ridiculous to me. I would also like to say that I generally agree with almost every speaker, although I can't speak for the specific areas they are. I just have a general statement, which is to say, our redistricting, our district, should have nothing to do with politics or party, and everything to do with the fairness of every individual being encouraged to vote, able to vote, and represented fairly. So as y'all make your decisions in whichever way you do it, I would ask you to not make decisions as Republicans or Democrats, or as whatever else you have on your own personal plate, but to vote for our democracy, to make it fair and encourage voters, whether they are educated voters, uneducated voters, whatever ethnicity, and forget all of that as you make your decisions about what is the right way to redistrict for our democracy to thrive. And thank you all for being here and for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Storms. Christina Davis McCoy. Ms. McCoy. Ms. McCoy, if you would state your name for the record and anyone that you may represent, you have 2 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Christina Davis McCoy, and I have many affiliations, and particularly this evening I would name the Hoke branch of the NAACP. I'm a 9th Congressional District Officer, Hoke County Democratic Party Officer, and Democratic Women of Hoke County. I've lived in the Sand Hills region for the past 27 years in the community of Hoke County. During this time, I have witnessed and experienced redistricting several times that has had significant impact on the voting strength of this region. As this redistricting consideration is underway, I strongly submit my interest in advocacy for our district to remain a distinct Sand Hills construct comprised of Moore, Hoke, Scotland, and Robertson counties, unsplit, undivided. These counties share similar histories in the region as well as they evidence related rural characteristics in transition. In the interest to achieve the maximum numerical mix of eligible voters, I would further ask that the counties of Cumberland and Richmond complete our cluster of communities of interest for this newly created district. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak, and I look forward to you taking seriously the concerns of all of the voters who have spoken before me and who will come after me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. We appreciate your comments. Cara Pearson? Ms. Pearson, if you would, state your name and if you represent anyone, please, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you all for allowing us to speak. My name is Cara Pearson. I live here in Pembroke, North Carolina. My family has been here for 5 generations. My neighborhood includes retirees, working families, and professionals at the university. Overall, Pembroke is a working community located in one of the most impoverished counties in the state. In the past few years, as a result of climate change, we have dealt with 2 hurricanes. At least at the onset of last year, due to COVID, it became very obvious that broadband is a major issue in the area due to lack of access for the local students who were unable to attend classes, which was a domino effect for the educational system. Also, we need more industry in the area to provide jobs so that residents have access to affordable housing and food. In the current congressional district map, Robeson County is clustered with Mecklenburg and Union counties. Potential flooding, internet, and jobs are not in the top 10 issues and concerns for Mecklenburg and Union counties. Our cultural, historical, and economic interests are in total contrast to those particular counties, which make it difficult for a congressional representative to advocate for our particular needs. Our interests are aligned with Scotland, Polk, and Cumberland counties. We should be in a district where our congressional representative will be accountable to us as voters. Fair maps are crucial to ensuring that every vote counts equally and not in favor for a few, but to put counties like at Robeson County at a disadvantage. I'm here to ask that fair, balanced district maps are created in North Carolina for the next 10 years. Thank you for your time and consideration. I represent Precinct 22.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. It appears that we have exhausted all those who have signed up, but it is the chair's intent to let anyone who would like to speak on this matter that has not spoken, that's here in the room, to speak on this matter because it's of great importance to the state. So is there anyone who has not signed up that wishes to speak at this time, please approach the microphone. No one? It's your opportunity. Okay. I would like to thank you to everyone who came out and participated. I would like to remind everyone that there is an online redistricting portal that can be accessed on the state's legislative website, ncleg.gov. So no further business before the committee. The committee is adjourned.